Sometimes courage, confidence, and inspiration follow periods of deep healing work and introspection. And sometimes that healing comes through simply starting. Sometimes we just know it's time to begin something new, even if it's messy, even if we don't really feel like we know what we're doing. Maybe there's just some kind of excitement and willpower and primal flame or fire, like Tolkien would have called it the flame imperishable. Something in us, some courage spark that no matter what we've been through, at the heart of it is really not ever able to be put out. And that, I feel, really lies at the heart of the energy seed that's being planted, the potentials that are being activated at this new moon, or dark moon if you prefer, happening in Aries at 27 degrees. I'm Jennifer Ellen Breach. Thank you so much for watching this video. It's been a really long time since I've got on camera and talked. I won't tell you how many takes I've done on this. I've had a couple great laughs. Who am I? What do I do? So I'm a Western evolutionary astrologer, and I lean on intuition quite a bit, and whatever channels through when I'm doing these readings, whether it's the free readings that I'm going to start putting out on YouTube, whether it's one-on-one client sessions, whether it's me writing a wedding script for a non-traditional wedding that I'm a celebrant of, and just allowing things to flow, right? And I do psychic medium work, intuitive issue and energy clearing work. I'm a musician, poet, love to do the non-traditional wedding ceremonies, cacao ceremonialist, and it is just so great to be back in any way, shape, or form. So let's get down to it then. So I'm recording this on the evening of the 16th, and I am so excited about this new moon, dark moon. This really is such an opportunity to just get in there and take some kind of action. Now, I talked to an Aries friend of mine tonight, and they're an unusual kind of Aries, right? Because of the placement in their chart and all of what they have going on in their life. They still have that warrior energy at the core, right? It just channels differently. But they said to me, like, Jen, it just really doesn't feel like everybody's talking about, oh, there's all this great fire and rah, 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 and we're supposed to just like get up and do all these things. And they said, I feel the fire. I feel like it's burning, but it's like I'm burning green wood, and it's really slow, okay? The first thing I said to them was, hey, like, it's the balsamic moon, right? The balsamic moon, like the deepest of the waning moon, right before we get to the new moon, or what we could more accurately call the dark moon, right? It's the time right before the seed planting. And that seed planting, the moment of exactitude of the new moon, is at 7:51 a.m. Eastern Daylight Savings Time tomorrow. So this really is not something that beforehand you're going to feel like, wow, I'm just so ready to rush out and take some kind of action, right? Full moon tends to get all the bells and whistles. It's the most overtly intense energy every month, right? It gets all the press, we could say. New moons operate very differently. They'll have a different energy or quality depending on the sign that they're in and the aspects, i.e. the angles that the planets are forming to one another, and how that's affecting us personally in our charts based on how we're receiving the energy of that astrological event. But new moons, it really is that womb time, that seed planting time, right? If you go outside tonight, if there aren't stars, you're not going to see anything if there's not streetlights, right? Because it's the dark moon. It's always this time of mystery, and it's a little bit quieter, and it does have this energy of the unknown, and we don't really know what's going to manifest out of whatever we feel impelled to plant at this time, whether we're conscious or unconscious of that. There's always some kind of new thing that begins at a new moon. And if you have planets in and around 27 degrees of Aries, this will be a very potent time for you, even though you may not see the manifestation of that right away, even though you may not feel like it's the time to just rush out and do the new thing, right? We always say, wait like 24 hours after the new moon and then like start doing whatever action feels right. But we're waiting until that very first part of the waxing moon phase kicks in. Like we get a little bit of light, just that little sliver. So even though there is all this fire energy, and I myself have been feeling incredibly motivated and a lot of vitality, it's trining my Sag Sun stellium, okay? So that explains it. Even so, with the new beginnings I have happening right now, I'm more in like a gather information, gather ideas, just kind of start, right? Kind of start. We won't really see things take root for a while. Now, I always like to mention, right, when I do these kinds of write-ups or videos, that every new moon is the beginning of what we call a lunar gestation cycle. And that is like a 2.25 year period where over that period of time, we see the things that we planted, consciously or unconsciously, at that new moon take different kinds of shape. They come into different kinds of form. So this will carry us all the way through to April 2029, right? So what you're planting now, like that's a culmination point and a possibly like another beginning of a phase within that, like, oh, this is the next phase of that, right? So sometimes these cycles just repeat themselves. It's like building on what you did previously. And our next culmination point in this cycle, which would be akin to like the first quarter moon, so a point of like really taking some kind of more deliberate, overt action in the larger scope of whatever this is that we're creating, right? We may not fully know what it's going to become. We never really do until it happens, is January of next year. So January 2027. So something to keep in mind as you go forward, right? Especially if you're feeling a little bit impatient, because I think anybody who pays attention to astrology, or you know an Aries person, or Mars is really strong in your chart, or you know a really, someone where Mars is strong in their chart, that's an intense energy, and they're all about initiating, right? Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. They want to get the horses out of the barn like right now, here, yesterday. Like the flames just go, right? It's the big bang of the zodiac, the warrior, like stake your claim and go for it. So patience is something that a lot of Aries people tend to work on. So if you've been feeling crabby or impatient or like easily triggered or irritated this week leading up to this, just be mindful, take a few deep breaths. I'm including myself in that group, okay? So first sign of the zodiac, it is just such an enterprising, get things started kind of energy. Now, let's count. It's a big number. Okay, we have what's called a stellium in Aries right now. That means that there's a grouping of 3 or more planets that are all there affecting us in some kind of a way. So if you were to see a chart, right, and I won't hold up mine because it's super messy with a bunch of scribbles, you would see this major concentration of energy like in one half of the chart. That means that one certain thing, or like a smaller, more concentrated group of things, like parts of life, parts of psyche, events unfolding, are really what's getting our attention right now. And it can feel really imbalanced, and it can feel really intense. So love up on yourselves. Take breaks, deep breathing. Love to do deep breathing, grounding exercises, time in nature, whatever is helpful for you. So we have, let's count it. So many planets or points we have in Aries right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's a lot. Okay, that's a huge ton. So let's look at what is affecting and what I say is plugged into this new moon itself. And I've already waffled on quite a bit, and I don't want to go on terribly much longer, but I want to explain some of these things, right? How we can work with this energy. So sun and moon meet. It's what always happens at a new moon, dark moon, conjunct Chiron at 26. And the goddess asteroid Aries at 25 degrees. Now, Chiron is the wounded healer. It's where we're feeling like we've really had some kind of inner healing work, reintegration of self to do. So Chiron in Aries has been like staking your claim. No, this is mine, like unapologetically, like this is what I stand for. These are my boundaries. This is my turf. Like This is what I will not compromise, and I'm willing to go to battle for this, for my own self. And we've been learning a lot of courage over the last handful of years with Chiron and Aries. So that Chiron energy is really at the heart of this, which is why I said sometimes the healing comes from taking the action, right? And we've already been doing so very much healing work, right? And I've talked about this in some of the articles that are on my blog. You can check, the info on this page to go to my website and check out my Healing Arts and Astrology blog. The Pluto-Saturn sextile is something that I wrote about, connecting back to things happening in 2020 and certain things that are just starting to come to fruition, and some of my own really deep and traumatic experiences leading up to all of what's blossoming now for the good, right? Like as an inspirational story to illustrate the astrology. So we've got this next level coming in now where it's like, okay, we're really ready to put boots on the ground. Not to use a cliche, but that's really what this energy is. Okay, this is the start. And that goddess asteroid Aries, that's the goddess that threw the golden apple that started the Trojan War. So she's a pot stirrer, right? So you might be feeling called to do something at this new moon time that maybe feels radical to you, or it looks controversial to someone else. You're about to make some kind of leap that, people might raise their eyebrows or just feel more restless. You just have to follow your own inner rhythm, right? Follow where you know you need to be, where you know you need to go. Now, we're always looking at the ruler of the new or full moon or any other, those two lunar events, right? That's what we're looking at, new and full moon. So Mars rules the sign of Aries. Mars is in a different section of this stellium. So it's in by Neptune, Mercury, Saturn at 5 degrees of Aries. And it's actually at the midpoint between Neptune and Saturn right now. Actually, nope, that's Mercury and Saturn. So there's a lot going on. Well, Neptune's actually only 1 degree off. You'll have to apologize my waffling and my just, haven't been on camera in like ages, and grace, right? That's what I mean about we just start messy and we go for it, right? So Mars is at the very close to exact midpoint between Mercury and Saturn. Neptune is only 1 degree off of being exact there, right? So we have, I would say, this ability to really put inspired, brave new ideas into action and utilize various forms of communication, technology to really go down a path that requires a lot of enterprising and courage and trailblazing, and also have this, I would say, courageous, inspired pragmatism, this maturity, this sort of methodical, like a warrior-like methodical approach with Saturn being there in Aries. So, Mars being that mediator, right? That's a really powerful energy to have influencing this right now. So, you've also got Mars that's forming this wonderfully supportive and inspiring sort of aspect called the sextile to Pluto and the goddess asteroid Juno at 4 and 5 degrees of Aquarius. So what we are doing right now has the potential to, really just be so far reaching. Like, I don't use the word destiny lightly, but it's really got the sort of undertones, something really radical, something that gets right to the heart of the matter, the truth of what we need and who we are, and our ability to connect in with community, inform these revolutionary partnerships that really stand the test of time and quite literally can change the course of humanity, right? Small and large scale, like whatever it is we're doing. So we also have that. And I'll also throw in a mention of something called the Minor Grand Trine. There's a Minor Grand Trine happening. It's a certain configuration that we've got going on until 2028. And this is between Pluto and Aquarius and Uranus that later this month moves into Gemini. Well, that's going to be interesting. More on that some other time. And Neptune in Aries. So what you have really is this wonderfully supportive energy with this open flow called the trine, and a planet at the middle of that that creates sort of like this spark of inspiration and this ease of flow. As long as we're taking some kind of effort, it's almost like a spring bubbling up, right? There's so much potential to do new and exciting and innovative things and have this divine inspired sort of vision and creativity. And I would say compassion and goodwill at the heart of that. It just is such a feel-good thing for putting down new foundations. So like if you're starting a new business or have new creative endeavors or whatever you're up to, this new moon plugs into that configuration in a really powerful way as well. So think about that, right? With what you have happening now. If you've got planets in and around 27 degrees of any of the cardinal signs, that being, Aries, obviously, Libra, which is opposite that, you might find that you've got to do some balancing work with cultivating a little bit more courage and still maintaining your own kind of grace and inner equilibrium intact, right? But might be time to integrate more of that courage. You might see someone or something outside of yourself behaving in a way or presenting something to you that really triggers that need for your own courage to heal something. Like maybe you need to speak up or take a bold kind of action to bring a different kind of balance to your life, right? New kind of courage. If you've got planets around 27 degrees of Capricorn in Cancer, this might feel more like a time of friction and running up against some blocks, or the need to, as we go forward, take a more decisive kind of action that might not feel good, but it will be very necessary for a certain part of your life's growth and evolution, right? For your own inner self. So that is a brief overview of that. And there was one other thing I wanted to look at. Just one other little thing that's catching my eye, I'm feeling nudged to take a peek at. So we have Jupiter still at 17 degrees of Cancer in a trine with Vesta in Pisces. So there could be an element of like a deep spiritual element of a certain kind of like devotion or dedication to someone, something. Follow your heart, right? Like following your heart. Every time I tap into Jupiter in Cancer, it's just whales. Like the whales and the mother energy really end up coming very strongly. And Vesta is that inner flame, that sacred holy flame. Like what are we tending to? What inner flame do we need to tend to bring maybe more of a like a flow and a gentleness and healing compassion with all this intense fire energy that's happening right now, right? Like it's just a lot. So lean into that feeling of the gentleness, go to the inner well, like go to your heart, that imagery of the water, the feeling of the earth. If it's feeling like it's all just too much, that could be a healing practice. Sometimes if I feel vulnerable, I just see myself like with the whales and I just sort of lean back on them, right? And water puts out fire, right? So it can really soothe and calm things. So that is the rundown for this new moon, dark moon. And I hope that it's a very inspiring time for you. And I hope that whatever's coming up for you, you find that you have all the support you need to really manifest powerful things. And just remember that even though there is all this fire energy, it's still the dark moon, and we're not ready to just launch out of the gate yet, right? We're not quite ready for that. So that's that. Happy weekend. Have a blessed new moon and lunar gestation cycle coming up. If you feel like you want or need more support with anything that's happening in your life right now, I do offer one-on-one astrology consultation. I offer intuitive visionary readings, deep issue clearing work, where I often work in tandem with the birth chart and any kind of energetic healing like La Ho Chi, Reiki. I channel, energy from Goddess Bridget that just channels uniquely through me after a head trauma many years ago. So I really approach this from a holistic perspective where the point is really healing the root and empowering you, right? I'm the conduit for wisdom. I'm space holding any messages, but it's you that do the work, and it's my job to really be like that way shower, that midwife for that process, right? I'm witnessing space holding for that. So if that is anything you feel called to experience, I would love to work with you. You can reach out to me either via email, jhowell, HOWELL 1221 @gmail.com. You can, like if you're watching this on Facebook, you can send a private message. I would love to hear from you if you feel called to do that. So many blessings. Namaste, dear hearts. Take good care.